Pat Gallen here at the NovaCare Complex with ESP, Eliot Shorr-Parks, 94 WIP. A little blustery out here. Also blustery, the relationship between A.J. Brown and the Eagles.
Yes.
Every week giving us
a little cold,
something cold as well, chilly, whatever you want to use. But again, we go down this road with A.J. Brown. What are your thoughts about the latest here?
Yeah, so I think this was my breaking point with the situation. I understand it's a big deal. I understand he shouldn't do it. He should not be talking about how unhappy he is publicly. There's just no benefit to it, right? I know he thinks he's benefiting the passing offense and the team by doing it, but he's not. It's not a benefit. But I'll also say this. It's been 3.5 years of A.J. Brown on the team. It's been a year plus of this kind of drama. They won the Super Bowl. They're 7-2. And they pretty much win all the time. So I'm not excusing what he does because I don't think there's a benefit to it. But I also think what gets lost sometimes is A.J. Brown is a net positive in the locker room. He is a net positive on the Eagles. And the ultimate thing I could say is, look, will he get traded this offseason? Maybe. In fact, I'd say even probably. But if I was a head coach or a GM of another team, I would welcome A.J. Brown onto my team.
Is he wrong in any of this? I'm independent of how it looks. Is he wrong, though, in the sense that he wants the football?
So he's not wrong that the passing offense needs to be better. He's correct about that. He's not wrong that the offense needs to be better. He's correct about that. But Devontae Smith's having a pretty good year. Dallas Goedert has a lot of touchdowns. The team is 7-2. So I do think he is overstating a little bit how much things need to change. Let's be honest. What needs to change is AJ needs to get the ball more in his mind. I'm not saying that he is being selfish for that. I think he, on plays like the game-winning touchdown against Green Bay, where he was a decoy and Devontae got it, I think he's fine with that. What I think he is upset about is he is an elite-level player that trains at an elite level all offseason, and he's not doing that to run block and be a decoy. He's doing that to get the ball. So I think internally, AJ truly does dance or kind of debate wanting the ball versus the team winning. I don't think he's a completely selfish player or a diva or anything like that, but I think he wants the ball, and I think that he's going about it the wrong way.
Do you think that they will make a concerted effort to try and change that this week, knowing the optics of what we've seen over the past weekend and even beyond that?
I think they make a concerted effort every week to get the AJ the ball. I think when they sit down for the first game plan meeting of the week, they say, how can we get AJ the ball? So I don't think they can make more of a concerted effort. I think maybe the game plan needs to be better. Maybe Jalen needs to be better. Let's talk about this. Maybe AJ needs to be better. I feel like a lot of this conversation turns to the coaches and the quarterback, and I think there's fair points there. But AJ is also out on that field. Devontae's getting the ball. Dallas is getting the ball. Guys are getting the ball. It's really just not AJ that's been getting it. So, maybe he's not the same player. I think he's still an elite receiver. But in terms of making a more concerted effort, I don't know how much more they could try. And I would also say to the worry they're going to force the ball to him, I don't think that's going to happen. He had 3 targets last week.
That is true. All right, let's turn our attention to the defense. Pretty stellar effort in Green Bay, giving up only 7 points, really making Jordan Love's life hell at Lambeau Field. And one person in particular really filled up the stat sheet, and that was Jalen Phillips. An incredible first performance with the Eagles. I'm sure they'd like to see more of that, but how much does his presence along the front change things for this defense?
I think he makes him a Super Bowl defense. What we saw at Lambeau Field was a defense you can win the Super Bowl with. Because last year, the defense was built from the outside in. The secondary was probably better than the front four. That's not traditionally how you win. To be a great defense, you have to have a great pass rush. And they got that in the Super Bowl and the championship game, but they didn't get it overall. From here on out, I expect an elite-level pass rush. I think Jalen Phillips is that good. I think he complements all the pieces. He makes Jalen Carter better. He makes Moro Jomo better. He makes Nolan Smith better. Jalix Hunt, go down the line. So I think adding Jalen Phillips, what we saw on Sunday night, that's a defense you can win the Super Bowl with. But this upcoming game is really going to be a test because the Detroit Lions might have the best offense in the NFL. And as Vic Fangio put it, maybe the best offensive line in the NFL.
And speaking of Vic Fangio, spoke glowingly of Jalen Phillips, going as far as to say it was like shopping at Nordstrom during the trade deadline. One guy that we do not see and will not see probably for the rest of the year is Jair Alexander. He's left the team to work on his mental and physical health. Was that a surprise to you? Was that a surprise to people inside that locker room?
Well, it's certainly a surprise to me, and considering they just traded for him less than 2 weeks ago, I'd qualify it as a surprise to the Eagles as well. When I spoke to Jair at his locker, he was excited to play. He was excited to go to Green Bay. He was excited to be on this team. I believe his mom's an Eagles fan. He was born in Philadelphia. So obviously now he's retired. As to why he did that, I don't have a clear answer. He's stepping away and retiring to work on his mental and physical health, and hopefully that works for him, and we wish him the best. But from an Eagles perspective, it certainly is disappointing that this comes after the trade deadline. That was the move they made. I think they had legitimate excitement about Jair. Jair said it was something he'd heard about for weeks. Howie Roseman said, he thought it was a good signing when the Ravens made it. So, yeah, this one didn't work out. And I know now, because the defense is playing really well, it might not feel like a big deal. It feels more like a weird story. Let's see on Sunday night, right? So I think this is a move that could hurt them down the road.
There's so many great matchups in this game between the Eagles and Lions. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams against that Eagles secondary. I mean, really go down the list. But one that I'd like to point out, Nick Sirianni against Dan Campbell. Yeah. Two of the best head coaches in the NFL right now. Nick Sirianni used to be a quote machine. Dan Campbell is a quote machine. I don't know. There's just something about this matchup. What do you think about it?
Well, I think what stands out to me is the physicality of both teams. Yeah. There's not many weeks I go into a game covering the Eagles and say the other team could be just as physically and mentally tough. We've seen weeks where the Giants early in the season, the Eagles didn't really show up. But outside of that, the Eagles are the bullies every week. Well, the Lions are used to being the bullies too, and this reminds me of the 2023 matchup against the 49ers. And I know fans don't want to hear that because it didn't play out well. I don't think it'll play out that way. But in terms of a big-time matchup we've all been looking forward to, and really a preview of what could be the NFC Championship game, I think this is such a bigger game than the Packers game. I think the Lions are way bigger, and I can't wait to see which of these two teams is the more physical one, because that's the one that'll come out on top.
Physicality is obviously something we will see between these two teams. Inside the lines, who are you looking at on Detroit's side that could swing this game one way or the other?
I think Aiden Hutchinson is who you look at. He's one of the best edges in the NFL. He moves from the left side to the right side. He'll line up on the interior sometimes. He is a dominant force. Now, if they can stop him, their secondary is pretty banged up. DJ Reed's coming back off IR, potentially playing in this game, but he hasn't played in a month. They're dealing with their other top corner is dealing with a concussion, so they are banged up in the back four. They have good linebackers, but really it starts with that defensive line. So the Eagles' offensive line, I think they'll have all five starters out there, and if they do, and you handle Aiden Hutchinson, they just handled Michael Parsons. If they can handle Aiden Hutchinson, I think there's opportunities to make plays in this game, and they're going to have to, because I think this will be a high-scoring affair.
I'm with you. We thought Eagles-Packers could be the game of the year. This could end up being the game of the year. Sunday Night Football between the Eagles and Lions. ESP, good stuff, my friend. Thank you so much.
Happy to do it.